Late at night, a car quietly stops at an empty gas station. The back door opens slowly, and someone forces out a big golden retriever. The dog looks lost and frightened, his eyes filled with worry. He quickly turns around, trying to get back inside, but the door slams closed. The dog stands motionless, watching helplessly as the car disappears into the darkness. Rain begins to fall, soaking his golden coat, but he doesn't move. He waits hopefully, thinking his family will return for him, but they never come back. The night becomes darker and colder. Just as the dog settles down to rest near the gas station, he hears something unusual from far away, hidden deep in the forest. A small scared cry. Slowly, he stands up. He needs to find out what it is, not knowing his life is about to change completely. When dawn finally came, the sky was still cloudy. Raindrops slid down the windows of the small gas station. The golden retriever, wet and shivering, curled up under the roof near the store entrance. He didn't bark or whine. He just stared at the road, always hoping to see that car return. His golden fur was dirty and tangled. Sometimes he trembled. His tail stayed close to his body. Every time a car passed on the highway, he raised his head hopefully. Sometimes a car would turn in and stop for fuel. The dog would get up quickly, tail moving just a little, his eyes looking at every face with gentle hope. But no one from his family ever got out. Some people looked at him with caring eyes, drawn to his beautiful golden coat and kind face. Some just walked around him, too busy or unsure what to do. But everyone noticed him there. By midday, the rain stopped, but the wind was chilly. The station owner, Mr. Wilson, came outside to check the pumps. He saw the dog lying there, and his face became sad. Mr. Wilson loved animals, but his station was small and he wasn't sure if he could help. Still, he went inside and filled a bowl with water. He found some bread in the back room, broke it into pieces, and placed it near the dog. "Hey, boy," Mr. Wilson said softly. "You look hungry. Do you want something to eat?" The golden retriever lifted his head and looked at Mr. Wilson with warm, trusting eyes. He didn't growl or show fear. He sniffed the food, but he didn't eat right away. Instead, he turned back to watch the road, his tail giving a small, hopeful wag. Mr. Wilson sighed deeply. He sat down on the step and waited. "Are you lost? Did someone abandon you here?" he asked gently. The dog looked at him with sad brown eyes and whined softly as if trying to speak. After some time, a pickup truck stopped for gas. A woman in a blue coat saw the dog and walked over. "Is he yours?" she asked Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson shook his head. "No, he was here when I arrived for work. It looks like someone just left him." The woman frowned. "Poor thing. He's such a beautiful dog, but he looks so heartbroken." "He won't leave that spot," Mr. Wilson said. "Just sits and waits like he's hoping someone will come back." The woman looked at the dog and reached out her hand. The golden retriever approached carefully, sniffing her fingers before gently pressing his nose into her palm. His natural friendliness showed despite his sadness. The woman smiled sadly. "He's so sweet. I wish I could help," she said softly, "but I need to get to work." Many cars stopped that day. Some people took pictures of the dog with their phones. A boy got out of a van and tried to give the dog half his sandwich. The golden retriever sniffed it politely and took a small bite, his gentle nature showing even in his distress. But soon he was back to watching the road. He was waiting, always waiting. At lunchtime, Mr. Wilson brought out a can of chicken from his lunch. He opened it and poured some into a bowl, then slid it across the ground. The dog's nose moved, and this time he ate a few bites gratefully, his tail wagging slightly before he returned to watching the road. The hours went by. The wind made small waves in the puddles. A truck driver stopped and said, "That's a beautiful golden. If no one comes for him, maybe you should keep him." Mr. Wilson smiled, but he wasn't certain. "He's waiting for someone," he said. "He doesn't belong to me." Late in the afternoon, two girls on bikes rode up. They saw the golden retriever and stopped. "He's so beautiful," one girl said. "Can we pet him?" "He looks friendly," said her friend. The dog didn't show any hostility. He watched them with tired but gentle eyes, allowing them to stroke his soft fur. His tail wagged weakly, showing his natural love for children despite his sadness. The girls whispered and then left, promising to tell their parents about him. Inside the station, Mr. Wilson made a sign that said, "Lost dog, golden retriever found at gas station. Does he belong to you?" He put it in the window where everyone could see. As evening approached, the shadows grew long, and the lights from the station looked warm against the cold air. Still, the dog didn't leave his spot. He lay there facing the road as if each car might be the one he waited for. Just before closing, a white car stopped at the pump. A woman with short dark hair got out. She saw the golden retriever and frowned. "Is that dog still here?" she asked Mr. Wilson. "He was here this morning, too." "He hasn't moved much," said Mr. Wilson. "I think he was abandoned here last night." The woman sighed. "People can be so cruel, someone should call animal control." Mr. Wilson looked at the dog and his heart hurt. "Let's give him another night. Maybe his owner will come back." The woman nodded, but her eyes were worried. "I hope so. He looks heartbroken." When the station closed, Mr. Wilson turned off the lights. He left a bowl of water and some food by the door, just in case. He looked back at the dog one last time and said, "Good night, boy. I hope you find your family." The golden retriever didn't move. He rested his head on his paws and stared down the empty road, occasionally letting out a soft whine. The night became cold again. Wind shook the windows and leaves danced across the pavement. The dog shivered, but he didn't run away. He was waiting, always waiting. Far away in the forest, a small sound drifted through the trees. A soft, shaky cry. The golden retriever lifted his head. His ears pointed up. For the first time, he looked away from the road. He listened, turning his head to find where the sound was coming from. He stood up and sniffed the air, his natural instinct to help others awakening. The wind brought the scent of wet leaves and something else, something small and afraid. He took one step toward the forest, then stopped. He looked back at the road, still hoping for the car to return. But the crying sound came again, a little louder this time. The golden retriever whined softly, his caring nature conflicting with his loyalty. He didn't want to leave his spot, but the noise in the forest pulled at his heart. He looked back and forth. Should he wait, or should he go? Inside the station, Mr. Wilson watched through the window. He saw the dog standing alert, staring into the trees. He wondered what the dog heard. Maybe a raccoon, or a lost kitten, or maybe something worse. But he was tired, so he closed the blinds and went to bed, hoping the dog would be safe. Out in the dark, the golden retriever paced in a small circle. He looked one more time at the empty road, then took a deep breath and walked slowly toward the forest. His natural desire to help overcame his fear. His paws sank into the wet grass. The trees were thick and the shadows were deep, but the dog kept going, following the sound. It was very quiet except for the soft cries coming from somewhere ahead. The dog's heart beat faster as he walked deeper into the forest. Every snap of a twig made him pause and listen carefully. He passed bushes that scratched his golden coat, but he didn't turn back. He was worried, but his instinct to rescue and protect drove him forward. He walked for a long time, pushing through ferns and branches, stopping now and then to listen. The crying grew louder. It was close now. Suddenly, the dog stopped in a small clearing. He saw something moving under a pile of leaves. It was small, dirty, and shaking. The golden retriever stepped closer and sniffed gently. It was a tiny puppy, alone and cold, with big eyes full of fear. The puppy whimpered and tried to crawl away, but was too weak. The golden retriever approached slowly, his tail wagging softly to show he meant no harm. He nudged the puppy gently with his nose, making soft, comforting sounds. The little one shivered but didn't cry out. The big dog looked around. The forest was dark and scary, but he stayed by the puppy's side. The golden retriever lay down next to the puppy to keep it warm. He licked the puppy's ears and made gentle soothing sounds, as if saying, "You're not alone anymore." As the wind blew harder, the golden retriever curled himself around the puppy. Together they waited in the shadows, lost but not alone. Back at the gas station, Mr. Wilson woke up suddenly, worried about the dog. He got dressed, grabbed a flashlight, and went outside. But when he looked, the golden retriever was gone. He called into the night, but there was no answer. In the forest, under the trees, the golden retriever listened to the puppy's slow, tired breathing. The dog didn't know what would happen next, but he knew he couldn't leave the little one behind. He looked up at the stars and then down at the puppy. He made a promise in his heart. "I will protect you." And so the first night ended. Not with a family returning, but with two lost souls together in the dark, waiting for a new day. The sky began to change color, turning from deep black to pale blue. The first rays of sunlight slipped through the leaves and landed on the wet ground. In the forest, everything was cold and quiet except for two dogs, one big and golden, one tiny and weak, curled together under a tree. The golden retriever woke up with a start. He shook his head, sending droplets of water flying from his ears. For a second, he forgot where he was. Then he remembered the soft crying, the little puppy, and the dark, scary walk through the forest. He looked down at the puppy. The small dog was still sleeping, breathing softly. The golden retriever licked the puppy's nose gently to wake it up. The puppy yawned and opened its eyes. It tried to stand, but wobbled and fell back down. Its fur was dirty, and its tummy made a tiny rumbling sound. The golden retriever remembered the feeling of hunger, too. He sniffed the air. He could smell the gas station far away, the scent of gasoline, old fries, and bread. But here in the forest, there was only mud, leaves, and the weak smell of a frightened puppy. The golden retriever stood up and stretched his legs. He looked around for danger, his protective instincts alert. He knew the forest wasn't safe, especially for a puppy so small. He heard the noise of crows in the trees and the distant howl of something wild. His ears went up, and he positioned himself between the puppy and any potential threats, though his stance was more watchful than aggressive. The puppy looked at the big dog and wagged its tiny tail just a little. The golden retriever felt warmth in his chest. He remembered his old family, the happy days when he was young, when someone loved him. He missed those days, but now he had someone to care for again. He walked to the edge of the clearing. The sun was climbing higher, shining through the tall trees. He could see the gas station if he squinted, far away across a field. He thought about running back, but he was worried about leaving the puppy behind. The puppy whimpered. The golden retriever hurried back to its side. The little one nuzzled against him, shivering. The big dog lay down again, curling his warm body around the puppy. He knew the puppy was hungry and thirsty, but there was nothing in the forest for them to eat or drink. Hours passed. The golden retriever listened to every sound. Sometimes he heard branches snapping in the distance. He would lift his head, nose twitching, eyes alert but calm. Once, a fox ran by, but when it saw the big dog, it hurried away. The golden retriever didn't chase or threaten, just watched protectively. The sun rose higher. The puppy tried to stand again. This time, it took a few tiny steps, then fell. It didn't cry, just looked up at the golden retriever with big, hopeful eyes. The big dog nuzzled the puppy gently, making low, encouraging sounds. After a while, the golden retriever knew they couldn't stay in the clearing much longer. The puppy needed food and water. He looked at the puppy and made a decision. He would take the puppy to the gas station where people might help. He gently picked up the puppy by the scruff of its neck, the way a mother dog carries her young. The puppy dangled in his jaws, legs kicking, but didn't make a sound. The golden retriever walked slowly, extra careful not to hurt the puppy or bump into bushes. The walk back to the gas station felt much longer than before. The ground was slippery and the thorns caught in his golden coat. The puppy weighed almost nothing, but carrying it made his neck ache. The golden retriever's own stomach rumbled with hunger. Halfway through the forest, the golden retriever stopped. He heard voices and footsteps. He hid behind a bush, watching. Two men in orange vests were picking up trash along the edge of the forest. The golden retriever stayed very still. The men walked by, talking about their families and the weather, not noticing the dogs. When the path was clear, the golden retriever moved forward again. He could see the sunlight shining on the gas station roof in the distance. His heart beat faster. Maybe Mr. Wilson would be there. Maybe he would help. But as they reached the edge of the trees, something concerning happened. The golden retriever saw a pack of 3 stray dogs near the parking lot. The dogs looked hungry and rough. Their ears were back and their eyes were sharp. The golden retriever put the puppy down gently and stood over it, blocking it from view. He didn't bark aggressively, but instead stood tall and confident, his natural calm authority showing. He made a low, firm sound, not threatening, but clearly protective. The stray dogs stopped and looked at him. One of them took a step forward, but the golden retriever stood his ground, his posture saying, "I will protect this puppy," without aggression. His confident, steady presence was enough. The strays, sensing his determination and seeing no weakness to exploit, gave up and trotted away. The golden retriever breathed a sigh of relief. He picked up the puppy and hurried the last few steps to the edge of the parking lot. He saw Mr. Wilson coming out of the gas station, carrying a broom. Mr. Wilson saw the dog first and waved, relief clear on his face. Then he noticed the little puppy hanging gently from the golden retriever's mouth. He dropped his broom and rushed over. "Oh my goodness," Mr. Wilson cried. "Where did you find that baby?" The golden retriever put the puppy down gently and nudged it forward with his nose. The puppy wobbled and sat down, looking up with wide, frightened eyes. Mr. Wilson bent down and looked closely at both dogs. He could see the scratches on the golden retriever's legs and the bits of leaves caught in his golden fur. He felt sad and amazed at the same time. "You brought it all the way from the forest?" he asked softly. The golden retriever wagged his tail enthusiastically, his whole body wiggling with the effort. Mr. Wilson shook his head. "You're a hero, boy," he said. He gently picked up the puppy and cradled it in his arms. The little dog was so light it hardly weighed anything. Its eyes closed and it leaned against Mr. Wilson's chest. The golden retriever sat down and watched, his tail still wagging. For the first time since being left behind, his eyes looked bright and hopeful. Mr. Wilson carried the puppy into the store and found a soft towel. He cleaned the puppy's fur and brought it some milk in a small bowl. The puppy drank hungrily, tiny tongue lapping at the milk. The golden retriever stayed outside, watching through the glass door, his tail wagging whenever he saw the puppy was safe. He didn't whine or scratch at the door, trusting that Mr. Wilson would care for the little one. After a few minutes, Mr. Wilson came back out. He knelt down and held out his hand. "Come on, boy, you can come inside too." The golden retriever approached eagerly but politely. He looked inside, saw the puppy safe on a towel, and wagged his tail harder. Mr. Wilson opened the door wider, and the big dog stepped in, immediately going to check on the puppy. Inside the store, the golden retriever shook water from his fur. The floor was warm. He lay down near the puppy and rested his head on his paws, watching protectively. He felt safe for the first time since being left at the station. Mr. Wilson filled a bowl with water and put it in front of the golden retriever. The dog drank deeply, finally quenching his thirst. Mr. Wilson smiled and patted his head. "You saved that puppy," Mr. Wilson said quietly. "You're a good dog." The puppy finished its milk and curled up on the towel. The golden retriever watched, making sure it was safe. He felt tired, but also proud, his tail giving occasional happy thumps against the floor. As the day went on, more people came to the gas station. Some noticed the dogs and came inside to ask questions. Mr. Wilson told everyone the story. The big dog had saved a tiny puppy from the forest. People were amazed. A little girl came in with her mom. She knelt next to the golden retriever and stroked his soft fur. "You're a hero," she whispered. The golden retriever wagged his tail and gently licked her hand, his natural love for children shining through. The puppy woke up and licked the golden retriever's nose. The two dogs sat together, side by side, watching the people come and go. They were no longer alone. Mr. Wilson called the local animal shelter and explained the story. "He's a brave dog," Mr. Wilson said. "He risked his life to save a puppy." The shelter worker promised to visit soon, but for now, Mr. Wilson said he would care for the dogs. He put up another sign. "Found, big golden retriever and rescued puppy. Please ask inside." As the sun began to set, the golden retriever and the puppy lay together on a blanket in the back room of the station. Mr. Wilson checked on them often, bringing food and water and talking to them in a gentle voice. The puppy soon fell asleep, its tummy full, finally safe after its scary night in the forest. The golden retriever curled up beside it, keeping it warm. Outside, the sky turned gold and pink. The shadows grew longer and the world grew quiet again. But this time, the dogs weren't waiting alone. They had each other, and they had hope. The golden retriever listened to the sounds of the gas station. Mr. Wilson sweeping, cars coming and going, children laughing. For the first time in days, he closed his eyes and drifted off to sleep, feeling peaceful. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring. Maybe someone would come looking for him. Maybe his old family would return. Or maybe a new family would want him and the puppy. But for now, he knew one thing for sure. He had done something good. He had saved a life. And somewhere deep in his heart, he knew that things might finally get better. News about the brave golden retriever spread quickly through the small town. By the next morning, people were talking about him at the bakery, the school, and even the grocery store. Some people drove by the gas station just to see the two dogs with their own eyes. Mr. Wilson arrived early. He brought extra food and a soft old blanket from home. When he unlocked the door, he found the golden retriever curled protectively around the little puppy, both fast asleep. The big dog woke up when he heard Mr. Wilson and wagged his tail enthusiastically. "Good morning, hero," Mr. Wilson said with a smile. He gently patted the golden retriever's head and checked on the puppy, who blinked sleepily and yawned. All morning, people came in and out. Some wanted to buy gas, but most wanted to hear the story. Mr. Wilson told it again and again. How the dog had been left behind, how he found the puppy in the forest, and how he refused to leave the little one's side. A reporter from the local newspaper arrived with a camera and a notepad. She knelt down and snapped photos of the two dogs together, then asked Mr. Wilson, "Do you know where the puppy came from?" Mr. Wilson shook his head. "No one knows. The big dog found him all alone in the forest. They're not even the same color, but now they're family." The reporter nodded and wrote down notes. She patted the golden retriever and said, "You're a real hero, aren't you?" The dog wagged his tail and gently licked her hand. The story made the front page of the newspaper that very day. Abandoned golden retriever becomes town hero after brave rescue. Under the headline, there was a picture of the golden retriever, his beautiful golden coat shining as he gently protected the tiny, sleepy puppy. Soon, people started calling the gas station, asking about the dogs. Some said they wanted to help. Others said they might know whose puppy it was. But when asked for proof or more information, no one could say for sure. Later that morning, a group of kids came in on their way to school. They crowded around the back room, whispering and giggling. The puppy wagged his little tail and licked their fingers while the golden retriever watched closely, his tail wagging as he made sure the children were gentle. One boy asked, "Do you think they'll get to stay together, Mr. Wilson?" Mr. Wilson smiled, but his eyes were sad. "I hope so. They need each other now." After the kids left, a woman entered the station carrying a small basket. She introduced herself as Mrs. Johnson, a neighbor from a nearby farm. "I heard about your dogs," she said. "I brought some cooked chicken and soft bread. They must be hungry." Mr. Wilson thanked her and took the food to the back room. He broke the bread into small pieces for the puppy and put some chicken in a bowl for the golden retriever. Both dogs ate eagerly, tails wagging. Mrs. Johnson peeked in to watch them. "They look happy," she said. "That golden is so gentle with the baby." Mr. Wilson nodded. "He won't let anyone hurt him, but he's so sweet about it." Mrs. Johnson asked if she could try petting the golden retriever. Mr. Wilson nodded. "He's friendly, but go slow. He's still learning to trust again." She sat on the floor and held out her hand. The golden retriever approached with a wagging tail, sniffed her fingers, then licked her palm warmly. The puppy crawled onto her lap and fell asleep, making everyone laugh softly. Mrs. Johnson shook her head. How could anyone leave a dog like this behind? Mr. Wilson looked away, not sure what to say. All day, the two dogs stayed in the back room, safe and warm. The golden retriever rarely left the puppy's side. He watched the door with friendly alertness, greeting each visitor with a wagging tail while still keeping the puppy safe. When the animal shelter worker arrived in the afternoon, he wore a blue uniform and carried a clipboard. He asked Mr. Wilson about the dogs and wrote down everything he learned. The shelter worker checked both dogs, looking for injuries or a collar, but there was nothing. No tag, no name, no way to know where they came from. He said, "I can take them to the shelter. Maybe someone will claim them." But Mr. Wilson shook his head. "Can they stay here a few more days? They just found each other. I don't want to split them up." The shelter worker agreed to wait. He left some advice on feeding the puppy and promised to come back soon. That evening, something strange happened. A white car pulled into the station. A man in a dark jacket and a woman in a red scarf got out. They looked around and walked inside, glancing nervously at the back room. Mr. Wilson watched them closely. "Can I help you?" he asked. The woman bit her lip and said, "We saw the newspaper. That puppy might be ours." Mr. Wilson raised an eyebrow. "Do you have a picture? A name?" The man said quickly, "We don't have any photos. We just lost him a few days ago. He ran into the forest." Mr. Wilson frowned. The golden retriever, lying by the puppy, sat up and watched the strangers carefully. Instead of his usual friendly greeting, he remained seated and alert, his instincts telling him something wasn't right. He made a low, concerned whine, positioning himself protectively in front of the puppy. The puppy looked scared and hid behind the big dog. The man stepped forward, but the golden retriever stood up and moved between them and the puppy, his usually wagging tail now still, his posture protective but not aggressive. The woman gasped and backed away. Mr. Wilson held up his hands. "Sorry, he's protecting the puppy. Maybe you could come back with some proof." The couple looked at each other, then hurried out of the store. The white car sped away down the road. Mr. Wilson felt uneasy. He wondered if they were telling the truth. Why did they have no pictures? Why was the normally friendly dog so suspicious? As the sun went down, Mr. Wilson locked the door and sat with the dogs. He stroked the golden retriever's back and said, "You're smart, boy. You know when something's wrong, don't you?" The golden retriever licked his hand and wagged his tail, then curled up with the puppy, who was now fast asleep. Night came, but Mr. Wilson could not sleep. He checked on the dogs often, worried someone might try to take the puppy. Meanwhile, outside, the wind began to blow and dark clouds gathered overhead. A storm was coming. The golden retriever sensed it too. He got up and walked around the room, checking every corner with calm alertness. The puppy shivered, so the big dog lay next to him, using his warm body to shield the little one from the cold air. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed outside. A trash can blown over by the wind. The golden retriever stood up and gave a single, alerting bark at the door. Mr. Wilson hurried in with a flashlight, calming the dog with soft words. "It's just the wind, boy. Nothing to worry about," he said, petting his head. The golden retriever wagged his tail and settled back down. The storm grew stronger. Rain hit the windows hard, and thunder boomed in the distance. The puppy whimpered and hid his head under the blanket. The golden retriever lay beside him, gently licking his ears and pressing close until the little one stopped shaking. Together, they waited out the storm. Mr. Wilson sat with them, reading quietly so they wouldn't feel alone. Finally, the rain slowed and the thunder faded. The power blinked off for a few minutes, but Mr. Wilson lit a small lantern and set it by the dogs. In the warm light, the golden retriever's eyes looked soft and content. He lay his head across the puppy's back, keeping watch until the storm had passed. Early the next morning, after the storm was gone, the town woke up to a rainbow stretching across the sky. People stopped by the gas station with more gifts, blankets, toys, food. The dogs were becoming heroes to everyone. A girl named Emma brought a drawing of the two dogs. She handed it to Mr. Wilson. "This is for the hero dogs," she said shyly. The golden retriever wagged his tail happily, and the puppy barked a tiny, happy bark. More visitors came by, asking if they could adopt the dogs. Mr. Wilson wrote down names, but he told everyone, "They're not ready yet. They need each other." That afternoon, the animal shelter worker came back. He had a scanner to check if the dogs had microchips. He scanned both, but nothing beeped. No one could find where they belonged. As the sun set, Mr. Wilson took the dogs outside for a walk. The air was fresh after the rain. The puppy jumped at butterflies while the golden retriever kept a close watch, his tail wagging as he made sure the little one was safe. As they walked, a car drove slowly by. Mr. Wilson recognized the white car from the day before. This time, the car didn't stop. The people inside looked nervous, then sped away. Mr. Wilson shook his head. "Something's not right with them," he said quietly. The golden retriever watched the car until it disappeared, his protective instincts alert but his demeanor calm. That night, when the dogs lay down to sleep, Mr. Wilson promised them, "I won't let anyone hurt you. You're safe here." The golden retriever believed him. He licked the puppy's nose, curled up beside him, and finally slept peacefully. But outside, the mystery remained. Who left the puppy in the forest? Why did the big dog risk everything to save him? And who were the people in the white car? The answers waited in the shadows, ready to come to light. The morning sun was soft and warm. Birds chirped outside the gas station and the world seemed calm. But inside, the story was about to change forever. Mr. Wilson was cleaning the gas pumps when his phone rang. It was the local police station. "Mr. Wilson," a voice said, "we want to talk about the dogs you found." Curious and a little worried, Mr. Wilson agreed to meet them at the station. When he arrived, 2 officers were waiting. They showed him a small video clip from a security camera at the gas station. Mr. Wilson's heart pounded as he watched. The video showed a family arriving late at night. A man, a woman, and a young boy got out of the car. The man opened the back door and pulled out a golden retriever. The dog looked scared and confused, trying to stay close to the family. Then the man pushed the dog out of the car and slammed the door shut. The car sped away into the dark. Then, moments later, the woman opened the door again. This time, she pulled out a small bundle wrapped in a dirty blanket. The little puppy whimpered softly as the woman left it near the edge of the forest. She looked around quickly, then walked back to the car and left. Mr. Wilson gasped. "That's the same family?" The officers nodded. "Yes, we found this video while checking reports about missing pets in the area. They reported their dog missing just days ago." Mr. Wilson's face grew red with anger. "They left them there? Both of them? How could they?" One officer spoke carefully. "We're trying to find the family now, but it looks like they wanted to get rid of their dogs." Mr. Wilson clenched his fists. He thought about the golden retriever, gentle and loving, and the tiny puppy, weak and scared. "They're both so innocent," he said softly. "But the big dog, he saved that little one." The officers asked if Mr. Wilson could keep the dog safe while they investigated. He agreed quickly. When he returned to the gas station, Mr. Wilson called the animal shelter. He told them the news and asked for help to care for the dogs longer. The golden retriever was lying on his blanket, the puppy curled up against his warm side. Mr. Wilson knelt down and gently stroked the big dog's head. "You did a good thing, boy. You saved that puppy's life." The golden retriever wagged his tail gently and licked Mr. Wilson's hand. Later that day, a crowd began to gather outside the station. The news about the family's cruel act spread fast. People were angry and sad. A little girl held a sign that said, "Protect the dogs," while others brought food and toys. Mr. Wilson felt proud and overwhelmed. The dogs were becoming more than just pets. They were symbols of hope and courage. But not everyone was happy. The white car returned. The man and woman stepped out, looking nervous. They tried to get near the station, but the crowd stopped them. The golden retriever saw them through the window and stood up, positioning himself protectively in front of the puppy. He didn't bark aggressively, but his alert posture and concerned whining made it clear he didn't trust these people. One man from the crowd shouted, "Those dogs are yours. You left them in the forest. You don't deserve them." People shouted back in agreement. "They left them to die. They don't care." The police arrived and told the couple to leave while they continued their investigation. Inside the gas station, Mr. Wilson checked on the dogs. The puppy was awake, licking the golden retriever's face. Mr. Wilson smiled. "You're safe now," he whispered. The big dog looked up at him with warm brown eyes. Mr. Wilson could see both the sadness from his past and the hope for his future there. Days passed, and the police worked hard. They spoke with neighbors, checked records, and gathered evidence. The golden retriever and the puppy stayed at the gas station, growing stronger and more comfortable. The puppy's legs became steadier. The big dog's eyes shone brighter, and his tail wagged more often. Mr. Wilson thought often about the dog's past. He wished he could understand why the family did what they did. But for now, his job was to protect the dogs and help them heal. One afternoon, a kind woman named Rachel came to visit. She worked for the animal shelter and had soft hands and a gentle voice. Rachel checked the dogs carefully. She gave the puppy medicine to help with an infection. She combed the golden retriever's beautiful coat and cleaned his wounds. "You're both fighters," she said kindly, "and heroes." Rachel spent time with the dogs every day, teaching Mr. Wilson how to care for them. She told him stories about other animals who had been rescued and found happy homes. One evening, as the sun set orange and pink behind the hills, Mr. Wilson sat with Rachel outside the gas station. "Do you think someone will adopt them?" he asked. Rachel smiled. "I believe so. Golden retrievers are wonderful family dogs, and this one has such a gentle, heroic spirit. But right now, they need time to trust again." Mr. Wilson nodded. He's been through so much, but he never gave up hope. The two watched as the golden retriever lay beside the puppy, guarding it like a devoted brother. Suddenly, a loud knock came at the door. Mr. Wilson opened it to find a tall man in a uniform. It was the local police chief. "We have new information about the family," he said gravely. Mr. Wilson invited him inside. The chief showed a photo of the family from a social media post. "They have a history of neglecting animals," he explained. "We're preparing to press charges." Mr. Wilson felt relief wash over him. Justice might come. But then the chief added, "There's something else." Everyone leaned in. "We found another missing pet report from that family, a golden retriever. We think it's the same one you found here." Mr. Wilson looked at the big dog. The golden retriever's eyes met his, calm and trusting. The chief continued, "We believe this dog has been waiting for its family, and when he realized they weren't coming back, he found a new purpose protecting someone very important." Mr. Wilson understood. The dog was not just a hero. He was a guardian with a heart full of love. That night, Mr. Wilson sat with the dogs in the quiet gas station. He whispered, "You're safe now. No one will hurt you." The golden retriever rested his head on the puppy and closed his eyes, his tail giving a gentle wag. Together they waited for the next day, ready for whatever might come. The morning sun peeked over the horizon, lighting up the small town with soft golden light. The gas station buzzed with quiet activity, but under the surface the air was thick with anticipation. Mr. Wilson unlocked the door and walked inside. The golden retriever was already awake, sitting by the window with the puppy beside him, both watching the road with hopeful eyes. News of the family's neglect and the police investigation had spread far beyond the little town. Reporters came again, hoping for interviews. Neighbors talked in hushed voices. Some people brought food and blankets, others just wanted to see the heroic pair. But the family who had left the dogs behind had not given up. They wanted their dogs back. Mr. Wilson felt nervous. He worried about what might happen if the family tried to take the dogs by force. The golden retriever seemed to sense this too. Every time a car drove by, he would stand alert, but his tail still wagged hopefully. He positioned himself protectively near the puppy while maintaining his naturally friendly demeanor. One afternoon, a loud knock startled everyone. Mr. Wilson opened the door to find two officers and a lawyer. The lawyer held a paper. "This is a claim for the dogs," she said politely. "The family says they are the rightful owners and want them returned." Mr. Wilson frowned. "But they left the dogs to die in the forest." The lawyer shook her head. "That is a legal matter for the court to decide. Until then, the dogs must be held here." Mr. Wilson felt anger rise inside him, but he knew he must follow the law. "I understand," he said carefully, "but these dogs have been through a lot. They need time and care." The officers nodded. "We'll make sure they stay safe." The golden retriever approached the visitors with cautious friendliness, but stayed close to the puppy. His usually wagging tail was more reserved, and he watched them carefully. The puppy whimpered and hid behind him. Days passed with a strange calm. The police and shelter workers visited often, checking on the dogs, but the family had hired a lawyer and was preparing for court. The community grew restless, divided between those who wanted justice and those who believed the law must be followed. One evening, a group of neighbors gathered outside the gas station. They held signs that read, "Protect the dogs," "No more abuse," and "Justice for the brave." The golden retriever watched from the window, his tail wagging at the sight of so many friendly faces supporting them. Inside, Mr. Wilson sat with Rachel from the shelter. They talked quietly about the dog's future. "I worry about the court," Rachel said. "The family might get the dogs back, even though they don't deserve them." Mr. Wilson nodded slowly. "We have to hope the judge will see what happened." That night, the golden retriever lay next to the puppy, his eyes closed but his ears still listening to every sound. Suddenly, a noise outside made him lift his head. A car pulling up fast, doors slamming. Mr. Wilson ran to the window and saw the white car again. The man and woman from before were back, and they looked angry and determined. Before Mr. Wilson could react, the golden retriever was at the door. He didn't bark aggressively, but he stood tall and alert, clearly protecting the gas station and the puppy. The puppy followed, small but brave. The man shouted, "Get back here, dog!" The golden retriever stayed calm but firm, his presence saying, "I will protect what matters without aggression." The woman tried to approach the puppy, but the big dog gently but firmly blocked her path, his natural protective instincts in full display. Neighbors heard the commotion and came outside. They saw the confrontation and called the police. Within minutes, officers arrived and separated everyone. The man and woman were taken aside for questioning. The golden retriever stood calmly beside Mr. Wilson, accepting gentle pats from the gathering crowd. Mr. Wilson stroked the dog's head. "Good boy," he said. "You protected us again." The police promised to increase patrols and watch over the dogs. As the sun set, a crowd gathered to thank the golden retriever. Children hugged him gently, and adults cheered, while he wagged his tail and greeted everyone with his naturally friendly nature. But the fight was far from over. The court date was set. Lawyers from both sides prepared for the battle ahead. Mr. Wilson and Rachel worked to gather evidence and witnesses. They spoke with veterinarians, neighbors, and animal lovers who knew the dogs. The golden retriever seemed to understand the importance of what was happening. He was calm but ready, staying close to the puppy and protecting him like a devoted guardian. The puppy, now stronger and more playful, followed the big dog everywhere. One day, a boy from the neighborhood named Ryan came to visit. He sat with the dogs and told stories of his own dog that had passed away. The golden retriever listened with gentle attention, his tail wagging slowly. Mr. Wilson smiled. "They're healing," he said softly. But late one night, a new problem arose. Mr. Wilson heard scratching at the back door. He opened it and found the white car parked nearby, empty. The man and woman were gone, but a stranger stood in the shadows, watching. Mr. Wilson felt a chill. He knew the fight was not just about the law, it was about protecting the dogs from people who did not care. He locked the door and called the police. The golden retriever stood beside him, alert and ready, but calm and trusting. Days passed with tension. The town watched closely. Everyone wanted the dogs to be safe. Finally, the court day arrived. The courtroom was packed. People whispered and cameras flashed. The family's lawyer argued that the dogs were theirs and must be returned. But Mr. Wilson and Rachel told the story of the abandonment, the rescue, and the love that had grown between the dogs. They showed the security footage. They shared the vet reports. They brought witnesses who testified about the dog's condition when found and their remarkable bond. The judge listened carefully to every word. When the decision came, the room was silent. The judge spoke with a clear, strong voice. The evidence shows that these dogs were abandoned and left to suffer. They have been rescued and cared for by those who love them. Because of this, the court rules that the dogs will remain in protective custody until suitable loving homes can be found. The family's claim to ownership is denied, and they will not be allowed to own pets in the future. This decision is made to protect the welfare of these animals and prevent further harm. A cheer rose in the courtroom. Mr. Wilson breathed a deep sigh of relief. Rachel smiled warmly and patted the golden retriever's head. The dogs had won. Outside the court, the crowd gathered and celebrated. People hugged, laughed, and cried. The golden retriever barked happily, his tail wagging. The puppy jumped and yipped with joy. For the first time, both dogs were truly free. Mr. Wilson spoke to the crowd. These dogs have shown us the power of hope and courage. They remind us to be kind and brave even in the darkest times. The community promised to continue caring for the dogs and help find them a forever home. Days later, a family who had been following the story came to the gas station. They were kind and gentle, with soft voices and big smiles. They knelt before the dogs and spoke softly. The golden retriever and the puppy sniffed them carefully. The family opened the car door and showed toys, treats, and a warm blanket. Slowly, the dogs climbed inside. Mr. Wilson and Rachel watched, tears in their eyes. The dogs had found their forever home. As the car drove away, the golden retriever looked back one last time, then turned to the puppy. They were together, safe, and loved. The journey had been long and hard, but in the end, love had won. The gas station felt quieter after the dogs left with their new family. The warm blankets and toys they had used were still there, but the big golden retriever and the tiny puppy were gone. Mr. Wilson missed them deeply. He often walked to the spot where the dogs used to sleep and smiled at the memories. The town, too, felt different. The story of the brave dogs had brought people together like never before. Strangers helped neighbors, and kindness seemed to grow like wildflowers. At the local school, children told the story of the golden retriever who saved the puppy. They made drawings and wrote poems about courage and love. Mr. Wilson visited the animal shelter often, helping other dogs and sharing the story of the two heroes. Rachel kept in touch with the new family. She said the dogs were happy and safe, growing stronger every day. Sometimes she sent pictures of the golden retriever running in the backyard and the puppy chasing butterflies. One day, a letter arrived at the gas station. It was from the family who adopted the dogs. They wrote about how much joy the dogs brought into their lives. The golden retriever was calm and gentle, and the puppy was full of energy and love. They thanked Mr. Wilson and everyone who cared for them. "You saved our family," the letter said. The community felt proud. They knew they had helped change lives. But Mr. Wilson also remembered the hard times, the sadness, the fear, and the fight to protect the dogs. He understood that many animals still needed help, so he started a small group with neighbors to rescue and care for lost and abandoned pets. The group grew quickly, with volunteers from all over town. Together, they made sure no dog or puppy would ever be left alone in the forest again. The golden retriever and the puppy had started something bigger than anyone expected. Their story was not just about rescue, it was about hope, courage, and the power of love to change lives. And in the hearts of everyone who knew them, the dogs would always be heroes. As the sun set each evening, Mr. Wilson looked out over the gas station and smiled. He thought about the dogs, safe and happy in their new home. He whispered softly, "Thank you for teaching us what it means to be brave." And somewhere far away, under a starry sky, the golden retriever and the puppy dreamed together, safe, loved, and forever family. Time passed quietly in the small town. The gas station still stood by the highway, a place where travelers stopped and locals gathered. But something had changed, something better. Mr. Wilson often thought about the golden retriever and the puppy. Though they were gone, their story lived on in the hearts of everyone who heard it. The dogs had brought the community together. People learned to care more, to notice the animals around them, and to act with kindness. Mr. Wilson sometimes sat on the porch of the gas station at sunset, watching the sky turn orange and pink. He would smile and whisper, "Thank you, boys. You changed more than just your own lives." Rachel continued her work at the animal shelter, inspired by the courage of the dogs. She told their story to visitors and volunteers, reminding everyone why they fight to protect animals. The family who adopted the dogs sent letters and pictures. The golden retriever was calm, strong, and loving. The puppy was playful and full of life. Their new home was filled with warmth and laughter, the kind the dogs had long missed. The story of the dogs became a symbol, a reminder that even when things seem dark and hopeless, love and courage can light the way. Mr. Wilson helped start a local rescue group that grew bigger each year. They saved many animals who were lost or hurt, giving them new chances at life. Children in the town learned about the golden retriever and puppy in school. They drew pictures and told their friends. The dogs had become heroes, not just to a few, but to a whole community. And sometimes, late at night when the stars shone bright, Mr. Wilson would look up and imagine the dogs running free, happy and safe. He knew their journey was over, but their story would never end. The gas station remained a place of hope. Travelers would stop and locals would gather, and sometimes someone would ask about the dogs. Mr. Wilson would smile and tell the story again, about the golden retriever who saved a puppy and how love conquered fear. The story reminded everyone that heroes come in all shapes and sizes, and that sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change everything. The golden retriever and the puppy had shown that courage isn't about being big or strong. It's about caring for someone who needs you, even when you're scared. And in the end, that's what made them true heroes. Did you enjoy this story? Let us know in the comments below. If you like the story, subscribe to this channel and leave a like. Thanks so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.